back, fellow revolutionaries. It's me, Tyrell Dennis, again, speaking on, of course, the subject of revolution. Again, like I said in a previous video, that revolution is very, very necessary if you actually want to grow. Revolution is, like I said, we're born revolutionists. Even as a little baby, we're born revolutionists. You know, of course, we're not conscious. Well, we're conscious even as a baby, but also we don't have the knowledge. You know, sometimes we don't understand what our parents are doing when they telling us to stop this or stop that. So we got the revolutionary mindset, you know, already in us. When mom or dad or whoever tell you to stop doing that, we cry we rebel, or we, you know, sometimes hit back. But revolution, you know, there's good revolutions and then there's bad revolutions. But the subject I want to get on to today is where do you start? Where do you start? And how do you start a revolution? And again, this is just my opinion. You know, I don't have no PhD or anything like that. You know, I'm not some rich guy. I'm not super smart like Albert Einstein or whatever. I'm just a person speaking of a revolution from my standpoint. And of course, those who are viewing, you know, of course, I'm sure a lot of you will have better definitions and can explain a lot better than I can. But again, I'm just speaking from the heart, and then also from some of the books I've read recently, and then also some of the knowledge that I spoke about, you know, in times past about revolution. You know, like I said, you know, American Revolutionary War, and then there's revolutions all over the world too as well. But let's get into that subject right now. That subject of revolution. Where do you start? And how do you start one? Well, I would say that one should, of course, start small. Always start small when it comes to a revolution. Don't ever try to take on a giant task of starting, you know, fighting a revolution, you know. Well, I'm finna try to take over this army. Well, that's pretty crazy, because there are some revolutions that's just dumb and stupid and pretty suicidal. You know, they're very suicidal because there was no type of preparation. And that's also when it comes to anything, a fight, a speech, or whatever, you have to be prepared. You have to have at least some knowledge of that revolution, or, you know, what you're doing, you know. Where do you start? Okay, well, if I'm going to start a revolution, where am I going to start on this? Well, to me, it's pretty simple. Start in the environment around you. Always start in your circle. Start in the circle, you know, whether it's something that's affecting the community that you live in, the city that you living in, or maybe there's a good friend, or maybe, you know, it could be a professor or whoever it may be. They may have a totally different opinion that's so powerful and important that, you know what I'm saying, he or she may be completely just opposed to you. You know, sometimes, you know, you know, they have good points. Sometimes it's a half truth. You know, whatever it may be, you know, start where you are. Always start where you are. You know, don't try to fight a revolution in California if it don't affect you where you at now. You know, always start where you are. And then when you see the success of that revolution, then okay, well, maybe you say, well, okay, I want to move to the next state over to start a revolution. Okay, fine. You can do that. But also, like every military leader too as well, you know, before they can advance towards some other land or some other territory, when it comes to the military, of course, you got an enemy that you're fighting. You first got to, in order to conquer like a large territory, you have to start off small. Conquer little by little and by little. But also remember that conquering, when you win a battle, you also sometimes you have to fight, you have to continue that fight. And I call it securing the victory. You got to secure the victory. It's not just, oh, okay, hey, we won against this group right here. Oh, okay, well, they won't bother us no more. There are some groups, I mean, even in a debate, I'm just using the military, as an example. Even with a debate, you got to know, okay, is my opponent or whoever I'm debating, did I get my point of, across to them effectively where they actually understanding where I'm coming from? Same with that military, that fight or whatever, you can't start building on something until you first, of course, fight and conquer. Fight, conquer, and then the last point, secure. You got to secure your victory at any cost, because there will be small skirmishes and there will be small uprisings. Just because you won this battle, it doesn't mean, you won the war. Winning one battle after the next and after the next. As a matter of fact, how do you win the war? You win the war by, securing, land that you already conquer. You secure valuable lands, that's very strategic for your benefit. You don't want to conquer a territory or land or whatever it is that doesn't benefit you. If it benefits the enemy more, then what good is fighting that land, or what good is conquering it? It's just like, if I'm fighting a war, I fought the war, I won over my opponent, I dropped a nuclear bomb or whatever, I completely won. But then you also look at the devastation. If you're going to use that land, you also need to make sure that it's not totally useless towards you too as well. Because, you don't want any type of land that's not strategic to you. Hey, we won this land, but remember, you just dropped a nuclear bomb. You completely devastated the land where you can't grow anything. There's no type of logistics, whatsoever. Now the wells are poisoned. Now your soldiers ain't got no water to drink, or the place is so totally nuked that you can't grow anything, or you can't even work or, do anything because it's completely useless. There's smart and dumb ways to fight a revolution, Start where you are. Start small. And then, like I said, you start small. You always got to start small. And then number two, why are you fighting it? What's the point of you fighting this revolution? Do you see some type of oppression? That should be one of the number one things you should look at when it comes to, a revolution. How does this affect me? Or how does it affect my buddy who knows me very well? He understands me or whatever. How does it affect me? And that's usually a revolutionist mindset. They live in some type of society where they're so oppressed. They're so opposed. They feel as though their words are not getting across unto them. No matter what what I try, we try to be peaceful, and we try to live under your rule. But the longer we live under your rule, the more pain and suffering, we receive as a people. And a lot of times, a lot of unnecessary violence and even deaths, come to people And and when a revolutionist understand all that, when they completely understand that, hey, the opposing party is not listening whatsoever. No matter what I try to say, they're not listening. So guess what? Now I gotta choose other methods too as well. Now, okay, now I'm gonna have to go against the grain of the elites, of the ruling class, of the majority of society. Now I gotta go against the grain. But then also keep in mind, when you're counting the costs, you got to know that there will be a lot of people who will be against you. Sad to say, sometimes it's even your family. Sometimes it's your friends. Sometimes it may even cost you your good paying job. You know, sometimes it will come to the point where the place where you call home, you're no longer welcome there. You now have to leave the area you are because of what? Now your influence, by you going up against the grain, against society or a certain type of belief. Now you're showing some type of resistance to the status quo, the norm of society. Now you're no longer welcome. Now you're sort of like a wanderer in a certain part of the world. And as your revolution, as it continues to gain popularity, the more and more, you start going against what society accepts and what they consider as the norm, the more resistance you will have. And now I know a lot of people, when they say they call themselves revolutionists, that's one of the main things you got to realize. You will have a lot of people to hate you. You will have a lot of people to hate you. Whether it's in the business world, whether it's in society, whether rich, poor, whatever you may have. Political, philosophical, psychological, and even in the religious world, And, the religions, the video I'm going to speak on later on about religious persecution, even within a religion, I'll speak on that later. But everything, there's always a revolution to it. You got to count the cost. You got to know how to be smart and start the revolution at a certain time. And I also meant to as well. Sometimes there's not a right time to start a revolution. And pretty much when you're a revolutionist, you're pretty much saying to yourself, it's a self-expression. I am sick or tired of this. I tried living on this. I can't take it no more. I got to rebel. I got to speak my mind. I got to say this. Yeah, I know people are going to hate me, but guess what? I got to do it anyway. And then not only that, that's the beautiful thing about free will. Revolutionists have free will. Free will is, also must be respected, even though it's called free will, but free will is also not a license to do whatever you want without consequences. Even with free will, there are consequences. If you do it, if you respect that free will, all power that you get, you also must respect it too as well. Everything, great power comes great responsibility. When you're starting a great revolution, you have to have the greatness of the mindset, and also a great, revolution also takes great sacrifices. Those who you love, care about, seen, know. Most of them, if not some cases, all of them will be against you. So it's all about knowing how to start a revolution properly. And most of the times it would not be a right time. But it's just a self-expression of yourself saying, I don't agree with what's going on in the norm. I don't agree what they're doing to this person or this group of people. I don't agree with it. And I'm finna do something about it. Whether it's talking about it or, some type of revolution. I prefer me, myself. And again, there's different ways to fight revolutions. One is just speak out about it. You don't want to, go to war with somebody without first, talking to see if war can be averted. Well, hey, let's declare war on this country. Well, whoa, wait a minute. Have you at least tried talking to them first? That's why, you got your embassies, your prime ministers, talk it out first. And again, even if sometimes you may reach some type of conclusion, but at least you talk it out. But then you study to see how would that play out. If it still end up being oppressive, then there's other means you got to take. But again, I prefer to be peaceful, and even, with this, the age of the internet, and, as the old saying goes, ignorance is a choice in the age of knowledge. And it really is. All this knowledge that's available now, there's no excuse to remain ignorant. If you know this group or this political party or whoever it may be, if you know that they are oppressing you whatsoever, speak out about it. Well, we're mad. Oh, now we're offended. Okay, so what? Every person, including myself, would be bothered by something that someone said that I don't agree with. We all gonna have something that somebody would not agree with. There's gonna be some politician that don't agree with the politician that you like. It happens. It's gonna be like that anyway. But a true revolutionist is someone who's true to themselves. They're true to themselves. Hey, I'm going to do this thing, or, whether I have to fight alone, or I have a couple of people with me. Even after their death, a revolutionist is always victorious. You read about some revolutionists, their name lives on forever. As a matter of fact, it's sad. It's a comedy and it's a tragedy at the same time. Most of your revolutionists don't get to see the history of themselves written in books. It's usually generations or the generation, after they're dead or long gone, that that now people understand and respect why this person is fighting this revolution. But when they was alive at their time, they was considered scum of the earth. So my friends, everyone who wants to be a revolutionist or who are revolutionists, no matter, count the cost. Understand why you're fighting. Start small. Start in your circle. Start with people who you know. Fight one battle at a time. Always fight one battle at a time. Because guess what? Someone is always watching. Someone will join your army. Someone will join your revolution. You will have a brother in arms, a brother or sister in arms. Keep the fight going. Never give up. Never surrender your goals. Never suppress your dream or your beliefs. If you know it's not right, don't go along with it. I don't care what society say. I don't care what the vast majority say. I don't care if they threaten you with jail time. I don't care if they even threaten you with death. A true revolutionist is always true to themselves. They will live on for the ages, throughout all the ages. That's the power of a revolutionist. Be strong, my friends, my brothers and sisters. Be strong. Remember, we live in an age of knowledge. We are always revolutionists. There will always be something to fight. Never suppress yourself. And always continue to fight, no matter what. Take care, my friends.